evil blanket fish has awoken.
I was muted. But yeah, this is the third and last Golden Sun game that we're going to be finishing today. And then tomorrow we're going to start Wild Arms 4, and that will be when the Redeemed goes up to pick the next game. Why, how did they mess up your limited edition? He's the only one that's missing his 9th, and it's in the final dungeon. So let's get going. No? I mean, it's a little messed up, but technically you got it for free. Which site did you get it from? Oh, okay. Yeah, I know people give Amazon a lot of shit, but honestly, at least in my experience, they've always been really good about refunds. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like, people give them shit, but I've never had a problem with their customer service. But yeah, most of the shit they get is from how they treat their actual workers, not how they treat the customers. What am I supposed to do from here? Really? That's crushable? For some reason, my controller doesn't seem to want to stay plugged in. I just remembered why I had that certain party that I was using. Okay, so I definitely need to keep Tyrell in there because he hasn't fully learned his weapon. feel like that's everything all set up. Aeolian Castle. Boosts wind power and resist, so that's going to either Sveta or Karis. 7 different... Can't go to... So Karis it is, but they can't go to Sveta. HP heal would probably be better. Really? Did it really reach all the way there? Yeah, it will. Damn, still got one more to learn. Hey, Ragna, how you doing? Well, you tell me, Renji. Wait, so did I miss that, or how do I jump down to go break that rock? Oh, okay, it's from up there. Can I not jump off from here? Oh, okay, I can jump off over there. It's not close enough. Well, I pretty much decided that I'm going to do the optional stuff except for Crossbone Isle. So I'm going to do the Ghost Ship, Botka Island, and revisiting the Volcano Dungeon. Crossbone Isle sounds like it'll take way too long. Here it is. Finally, enough of a difference in defense for him to lose the attack and critical bonus. I guess we're gonna have to hit all the elements to get inside. Or is this a thing where I'm gonna have to do them in the right order? Am I not at the right height? Guess not. Okay, I feel like there's an order I'm supposed to be doing this in. Paths of light may not be trod without mourning those who pass into shadow. Observe the rites thusly. From fire to the deceased's eyes, then cleanse the forehead with a drop of water. Next, blow a cool breeze across the nose and finally walk the path described by the scent of morning incense. So first we light the fires. Okay, so I guess I have to follow it immediately. I was gonna go to the middle and then use scent, but I guess I have to do it immediately. This was a pain in the ass to get to. Alright, and now we're in the final dungeon. Thank you, Floating Testicle. Gates to Apollo Sanctum will open for one who can align our emblems correctly. I'm not liking that shadow that only appears there. Feels like we're gonna have like a mirror match boss fight or something. Hey, Irby, how you doing? Have anything to put on that. Crush, really? Getting a lot of use out of Crush in this dungeon. To our best Indiana Jones impression. Oh, that, okay. Okay. That's just to get it to continue. that sucks. Well, I mean, feel free to hang out here. Hopefully, maybe you can doze off in a little bit. That should go all the way across. Okay. See if this works or if I'm going to have to do more. Alright, we're almost done opening the door. I see you over there. Can I do anything with these? First, let's go get our gem. We're gonna have to figure out what brings that out first. Now we can go get it. Don't tell me that reset everything. Damn it, it did. Might as well set it to a shortcut, because it looks like I'm going to have to do several in a row. everybody's class is done now. That's what makes us go. Can't actually do anything with those. So I've got to get that one up there to drop down. Oh, it did it for me. I thought I was gonna have to do them all in a row. Now, am I gonna have to race? Or can I maybe get this one to fall over there? Nope, I'm gonna have to race. Can't move it forward. And I did it all wrong. I went down one level too far. I should do it I can do it from here. I didn't stay on it. Yeah, I pointed that out the first time they had one of those grip pulls. It's like all of a sudden he's doing acrobatics. There we go. Death is the dark reflection of life. To enter, create my dark reflection. I'm guessing now we have to put all of them there. Hey Kaz, how you doing? I don't know if this is going to be all of them or just like certain ones. Looks like it's going to be all of them. Yay! We finally opened the door. Light here is so strong, you'll need protection to survive it. Imi's prophecy. We must clothe ourselves in shadow, or rather, in the Umbra gear. Ah, of course. This is why the Umbra gear is important. So is this a Sveta solo mission? Time for Sveta to step into the limelight, so to speak. This will all depend on you. What am I to do? Well, this equipment is tailored for a Morgal Beastman to wear. Sounds like Sveta's the girl for the job, alright, but why is the gear just for Beastmen? The Apollo lens is the product of cooperation between the ancient Janae and Morgal Beastmen. I thought they said the Beastmen didn't show up until the Golden Sun event 30 years ago. And the Beastmen did the physical labor, so they were wearing the equipment. So why is it the Umbra gear? Because if we are to survive the light, we must wrap ourselves in the Umbra, another word for shadow. Very good, Abati. And so that is where I must step in. Alright, here I go. Do we really know that the Umbra gear alone will be enough to protect her? There's no way of knowing for sure. I have faith in our leader. Matthew, will you guide me? Ah, Matthew, of course. You don't think Matthew can do it, do you, Creighton? Don't be absurd, of course I do. Matthew, you've led us well to this point. Now guide Sveta through this last obstacle. Once we come out up there, I'll be in danger. Don't let me down, please. Just in case. I don't know what this leading her is going to entail. While in the brighter spots, pay close attention to the Umbra gear's endurance gauge. The endurance gauge slowly increases while you're in bright spots. If the gauge goes too high, the Umbra gear will fail and you'll be swallowed up by the light. When the gauge is high, hide in the shadows, such as by a pillar, and let the gauge get lower. So, basically the mechanic that they use in a lot of desert stages for other games. When you're in a bright spot, keep an eye on the low of the Umbra gauge's endurance gauge. Who has the blue ball? Well, at least it goes down really quickly. He has red. She has yellow. I don't... Okay, I think that kind of answered my question. I was about to say, if I walk backwards, is Matthew still protected? But I guess he is. Okay, so whatever that is... I'm pretty sure that's the soul blade, but I'm apparently not done because I can't grab it. So what am I missing? Unless maybe I'm supposed to use grip to pull it out? What the hell am I supposed to do? I mean, I activated the thing, but it didn't seem to be... Am I missing something, like, really obvious? Oh, I am. There's a step over here. Yeah, it wasn't until I looked at the mini-map that I saw that there was a step on the top part of it. Kinda looks more like the soul dagger. Oh, and I know what that is. I've seen those in all the optional areas. Okay, I see the things I'm supposed to swing to, but how do I get them to come out? Okay. Once again, you're getting a lot of mileage out of Crush in these last few dungeons. Making sure that doesn't bring any other ones up. Yeah, this is the final dungeon. I'm guessing this is basically just like setting up a firing sequence. Cannon number 1, ready. Cannon number 2, ready. Cannon number 3 ready. Ah, good. Have you finished with the preparations? Ow! What's he doing here? Arcanus here. This one has great power. What kind of name is Arcanus? Tyrell, son of Garrett. You seem displeased to me. I'm only displeased to see you still breathing. Ah, the impulsiveness, the overconfidence. You really are your father's son. You know my dad? Obviously. Who are you? Why do you know so much about us? Hello, Alex. Alex? The Mercury Clan's traitor? My mother's betrayer? That Alex? What makes you think I am this Alex? We traveled together for some time, Alex. I haven't forgotten. You flatter me, Creighton. And I'll flatten you. I should have realized sooner. Your chosen name, Arcanus, had me distracted for a while. Oh, really? Why was that? Well, in my travels I had heard of a deck of cards used for telling fortunes. Go on. Two of the suits of that deck are swords and cups, very similar to our Blados and Chalice. How would that relate to my assumed name? Arcanus sounds like the term for the most important cards in the deck. It seemed more than coincidence. Figures that you'd name yourself for the most important part. That's quite a theory, Creighton. I'd love to hear more, but I'm pressed for time. What is so pressing? The Tuapare. Yeah, it's cool to misspell things, or to, use them in Latin. What do you mean? What is that? I got a bad feeling about this. Oh, look out, everyone! Who? It's them, all right. You're talking to them, Arcanus? Why aren't you just killing them? That's actually not his name. Alex, was it? You were eavesdropping. How rude. You traveled with the old man. Does that make you one of the warriors of Vale? No. Alex was not one of the warriors of Vale. He was a power-mongering schemer. Probably not. And actually, it kind of looks more like a dagger. It's got the length of a sword, but it still looks more like a dagger in the actual shape of it. He'll probably betray you a lot as well. I don't think he's ever honored a vow or promise. You can't really be Alex. Alex tried to use the Golden Sun to become an immortal, but he failed and was killed. Alex, Arcanus, who cares? I never liked you and your superior tone. Keep your temper in check, GLaDOS. The High Emperor would not want us fighting amongst ourselves. Sorry, High Emperor. Your expression suggests that Imperial loyalty is not the first of your priorities. Funny, Alex, your expression says the same thing. Perhaps then it is finally time for us to untangle our remaining webs of deception. What are you saying? We have our orders, Arcanus. We will not deviate from them. Our orders are that Matthew should activate the Apollo lens. The methods are ours to choose. I have determined that the truth is now our best weapon. Matthew, you should know that the Tuaparang are scions of the Umbra clan, also called Dark Adepts. Dark Adepts? What are they talking about? From an Umbra clan? Yet he seems to be telling the truth. Impossible. Another clan? Well, I never heard of them. The High Empire sent me to make sure the Apollo lens was used according to his plan. So the High Empire doubts our loyalty. Oh, you're setting us up. Naturally, we can't really trust each other, but I need to ask one question. Are those men who came down from the airship really Tuaparang soldiers? They seem to have strange powers unlike normal synergy. Just like you two. You are here for the Apollo lens, correct? What will you do with it? What a good question. Chalice, what will we use it for? Oh, we can't spoil the surprise, can we? Based on the trajectory, your target is Tuaparang, or perhaps the area around Soul Sanctum. Since you have not contradicted my deductions, may we now consider dark synergy an open secret? Or you still intend to keep it secret by eliminating me? I knew you'd figure it out eventually. You're always so very clever, Arcanus. I can handle these two. Go throw the switch for the Apollo lens. Alex? So he did survive the Golden Sun. So it would appear. And apparently there exist Dark Adepts in the world. Would Dark Adepts have powers like this horrible eclipse and its monsters? Dunno. And there's an Umbra clan now? I've been all over the world, but I ain't never heard of them whisper about them. We don't have time to discuss it now. Let's activate the Apollo lens while Alex buys time. I wonder if that was a random encounter or if that was scripted, because that gave a lot of experience. Kinda tempted to... Kinda tempted to see if I can get more fights like that. Alright, it's random. Also, because I need to see if there's any... I don't know if it comes in fully learned. Yeah, there's still one more skill to learn on the Soul Blade. Like, Centurion and Radiant Fire were the ones that I had on the Levitine. This one adds Purgatory and Megiddo. So I need to fight at least until I unlock that last skill. And also, just like I said, with as much XP as these fights are handing out, why would I not? Oh, I already learned the last one. Let's do 2 more. I'm trying to get him. There we go. You ask and you shall receive. Also, these guys are dropping revives like crazy. Alright. This must be the way to the Apollo lens's controls. It's amazing. Let's activate it quickly. You know, I didn't see it all happen, and for a second there, I thought that was like Sveta transforming into her beast form, getting ready to fight us. It's like, what just happened? No, it's just another enemy. Oh no! You an adept or not? Use some synergy on it. It's like you just made it matter. Not angry. Very, very sad. Those are tears. What is wrong, Sveta? Is it her brother? You're fighting it, aren't you? You feel the conflict within. I will help you. No. Okay, he's calmed down again. Is he shrinking? He looked just like another monster. Still looks like a monster to me. No, its behavior is all wrong. A flood of dark energies. The moment we appeared, it was ready to attack. I think it's been in pain for some time. If Sveta hadn't spoken to it, the creature would certainly have attacked us. Why so calm now? Why can I hardly look at this creature without wanting to cry? No! He's fighting it. Don't interfere. Looks like I have no choice. I hate to make it hurt more, but I need you just a bit more destructive. Time to repay all we've done for you. Not much fighting him. Maybe we should have stalled longer. We did everything we could, but he's just too strong-willed. Ready? I guess it was a monster. There must be a way to calm it again. Don't give them time to think. Looks like our pet is ready to fight. We're here to stop the eclipse. If we have to fight it, so be it. Oh, we'll take care of the eclipse when the time is right. As pleasant as this little chat has been, I'm afraid we can't let you live any longer. But we are genuinely grateful to you. We simply weren't equipped to start the other alchemy machines. And without the power they provide, the greatest weapon of the ancient world wouldn't now be in our hands. This won't be like before, kids. All this dark energy is making us stronger than ever. Oh, and our little pet? We must stop them, Matthew. If they get their hands on the Apollo lens, we're doomed. So are they just all status effects? just realized I'm not sure I have any water gin on this team. Oh, I didn't even see that Matthew got stunned. I think this one heals. And I just really wish that Amity had gotten it off before they hit Matthew. Okay, I guess it doesn't. God damn it. Get everything back. So we're back at our full class levels. Oh, was he the only one we needed to beat? Pathetic. How do a bunch of children beat the elite of Tuaparang Empire? GLaDOS, I think it's time to fall back on our alternate plan. Let's call on the power of Dark Binding. What is that? In the shadows? Dark spirits. They're merging with the energies of the eclipse. Oh, I'm getting pulled in too. Can't let Matthew's whelps win. If we're absorbed, then so be it. This is a dangerous enemy, Matthew. It will challenge you as never before. Are you sure you're ready? Sure one. Actually, if I had said no, would they have given me a chance to heal? Oh well. Well, I didn't think that the actual beast was gonna die first. I was planning on killing them all. Yeah, I have. That was one of the reasons why as soon as I saw the beast, I was like, is that her brother? That was even why during the cutscene, when it first popped in and Sveta wasn't with the party and they were all talking, for a second I thought she had transformed and was about to attack the party. Alright, he lost all his gem. But, since he just got that one back, I can make him come back faster, at least. pretty sure Megara gives an attack up, so let's go ahead and use that. Oh, right. I don't remember what Jin that needs. Let me check. Because actually, I still need to use Eclipse and also Crystallux. I don't think I've used either one of those before. But I don't remember what types I need. And also Coatlicue. So Eclipse is 2 Mercury, 3 Jupiter. Crystal Dragon is 3 Venus, 2 Mercury. Why are they all Mercury? I don't really have any Mercury in my team. Coatlicue is 3 Mercury, 3 Jupiter. She's holding a lot of Mercuries. Let's get her in. I think this is the final boss. That'd be funny if that works. Okay, so Quatliku, Eclipse, or Crystallux? Unfortunately, since they're... I may be able to do this one next turn. If I could do Eclipse and then maybe Crystallux. I don't think he liked having a dragon called on him. Dark Soul Gasp. So that's literally a reference to Shining in the Darkness. Dark Soul was the final boss of Shining in the Darkness. Except his big skill was called Demon Breath, which was kind of similar to that, but in here they're calling it Dark Soul Gasp. a ceasefire again. Great job. Great job. Tyrell has the djinn that's supposed to negotiate a ceasefire, but he's going after it does all three of its fucking attacks. Yes, great job. Awesome. You're the best part of the team. Yep. Can I switch again? No, it just undoes it. Okay, the order of that actually worked out pretty well. attacks did he get this turn? I could have swore he already got in his 3. Alright, night, Hideru. Sleep well. Looks like we lose. The darkness will fade. Excellent work, everyone. You've done your parents one better. Sveta, what's wrong? My brother. Who? Huh? Your brother, Sveta? It's Volchek? This is not possible. How could this happen? We didn't know. What happened? I can tell you. As he was nobly sacrificing himself, we used dark synergy to save him. Made a few improvements while we were at it. Took his mind and forced him to fight against his sister. We certainly tried, but he still recognized his sister somehow. Bestial instincts, I suppose. Family reunion won't matter if you stop the eclipse. What do you mean? Volchek is now a creature of darkness. He won't be able to live in your world of light. No undoing what we did, either. He wouldn't survive another big shock to his system. There is truly no way for Volchek to live to see the end of the eclipse. Is there really nothing we can do, Kraden? If we had more time, maybe we could think of something. But we do not. Every moment that the eclipse goes on, countless people suffer and die. At the center of that suffering are the Morgal people. Volchek, as their king, has a responsibility to them. Sveta, are you sure? You did not grow up with royalty, Karis. My brother would understand. Sveta, if I were Volchek, I would be grateful to you for your courage. I think we have discussed this long enough. Matthew, the switch on the Apollo lens. Would you kindly throw it now? Don't succumb to the power of the light. Steady, Matthew. You can do it. Good luck. Matthew, you must succeed. You can do this. You mustn't give up. Alright, am I doing something wrong, or is this just I have to try a certain number of times? Stop. Okay. Matthew, you cannot do this. You might as well give up. You're going into the very heart of the light. You don't have enough of a dark side to survive it. Volchek's sister is the only one of your crew who can wear the Umbra gear. No matter how much shadow you wear, the amount of light up there will probably kill you anyway. We were gonna send Volchek up there to get rid of it when he played his part. This would seem to be an impossible situation. No, we can't believe that. I wish I could do it for you, Matthew. Time draws short. This has the look of a trap. Poor Sveta. I can do it. Sveta has already been exposed to so much light. Any more will surely. Matthew, please help me. I will need to borrow your strength to reach the Apollo lens. We've created some weird Matthew-Sveta hybrid. Matthew, I'm sorry for making you come with me. At least we can die knowing that our lives might buy the lives of the others. A small price to pay. Soon we'll reach the controls for the Apollo lens, and this will all be over. Alright, let's go. Brother! Volchek is still alive. What is the Apollo lens aimed at? It's over. We've lost. There's gotta be a way. How pleased you must be that your plan is proceeding. No, looks like seeing his sister in danger snapped Volchek out of it. I do believe he's about to give his life for his sister and his people. Volchek! Sveta, farewell. Would you relax, Matthew? I know you're anxious, but Sveta will be here soon. Yeah, it's actually pretty far. Okay. I was about to say, let me get to a text bubble so I can pause it. Alright, so I'll go on break. I'll be back in 5, and then we'll watch the ending. Well, I'm back, and apparently Nami decided to be the Punisher today. No, she's late. It's not like Sveta to forget her friends. You're referring to Her Majesty, the Queen. Sveta is already the Queen? You guys move fast. At any rate, Her Majesty left some time ago. She left? Where did she go? We were told she was seeing everyone off. She should be at the city gate now. But she promised to meet us at the castle gate. Well, let's head into town to see if we can find her. Where is everyone? Looking at it one more time, I guess Billings isn't such a bad place. What are you doing? Seeing you off. I waited as long as I could. It was time to go. I assume we'll be leaving soon as well, Matthew. I will think of you often. We will see each other again, right? Of course. We're all young, except for Creighton, and he doesn't age. Thanks for all you've done for us, Matthew. You saved us all. You're leaving? You guys are my heroes. Please come back to visit sometime. Are you going home to see your parents again? Take it easy for a while. You've earned it. Your friendship is an inspiration. You made it through all the dangers. We'll happily play for you anytime. We need you. Alright, that's enough for the peanut gallery. I don't think so. Unless that's Crossbone Isle. I didn't really look at the, what you needed to get into it. I just basically saw how long the dungeon was, and basically decided that I wasn't going to do it. Like, I'll basically just, there's 3 other post-game things I'm going to do. I'm basically just going to do them until it comes time to end stream, however much I can get done. Where did they come from? From all over Morgul. They wanted to see you off and give you their thanks. Everyone owes you their gratitude. How can we thank you enough? Don't go, stay here with us. Tell us about all your adventures. We can't go away. Don't forget the people of Belensk. You won't be able to hear us play. Would you like Morgul? Stay in Belensk, please. Okay, this is like way too much. Way too many lines from the peanut gallery. This is how they all feel? It's nice to be liked, huh? It's probably time to get this rock feather home. Had enough gratitude? Guess I'll head home too, after I drop Himi off at Yamata. Thank you. My countrymen no doubt await my return. I will leave shortly. And what shall we do? Whatever you think is best. From now on, you will learn not from me, but from the world. There are always new mysteries to solve. The longer we stay here, the harder it is to leave. Let's go home. okay, so I had heard online that for people that's saying that this still kind of ended, supposedly this still kind of ended on a cliffhanger, and that's why everybody's like kind of down that another game never got made. King of Hades Guardrunner, welcome to the stream. Maybe it's post-credit, unless they're just talking about the fact that they never did fix the Sword Wing and go check on Soul Sanctum. Because they still haven't. We got the Rock Feather and everything to fix the Sword Wing, and we never made it back home to fix it and go check on Soul Sanctum. Pretty much everything in this game leading up into the end was like a distraction. So unless they're talking about that. But yeah, again, I finished the game. I still don't see why this game was so hated. It very much felt like a Golden Sun game. Unless maybe just the thing that I just mentioned, that the entire game was basically the one thing we went out to do, which was to get the Rock Feather to fix the Sword Wing, and then everything that happened was, you know, stuff that kind of got in the way of that. But I don't really see that as a big black mark on the game. I mean, the first two games had their pretty fair share of that. Because, I mean, it took the whole 2 games for them to go to the 4 elemental lighthouses, and pretty much every single lighthouse had, you know, a massive amount of things that got in the way before you could get to the lighthouse. So that seems like it's just par for the course. Yeah. I mean, there is some hope. They were like job postings where they're looking for people to do like world map stuff and some other things that make it sound like they're working on another JRPG. I don't know if it'll be another Golden Sun or something new, but it's some hope. Do they? I'll still say the same thing I've been saying, you know, for a while now. People need to stop buying the golf and tennis games. Stop buying the golf and tennis games, and then maybe Overlord Mario will finally let them make another JRPG. So does that mean the rights to the property are split between Nintendo and Camelot? Yeah, it's good to be back. Nice to see the good old cabin again, eh, Matthew? What's wrong, Matthew? Aren't you happy to be home? What, Matthew? Look over there. Well, there's the cliffhanger. Alright, let's see how much post-game we can get done in an hour 20. Yeah, that was basically a plot thread that the game started on that kinda got forgotten, I guess, in everything that happens. Because that was the whole reason they wanted to inspect Soul Sanctum, was that there were more of those things were popping up, and they were worried that another giant one was gonna show up. Because it apparently happens every 10 years. Yep. Man, 12 years of a cliffhanger ending. That is shit. Let's go to the volcano island first. So two different JRPG properties that ended on a cliffhanger. Both from Nintendo. Almost feels like they do it on purpose. Come on. night, Irby. Hope you get some sleep. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. There's a lot of other series that I was holding hope that they would come back in some form or another. Luckily, you know, in the past couple of years, a lot of them have started coming back. So this will just be kind of another one to add to the pile. Like, because I think I was trying to think of it. Because there's Breath of Fire. That's the one that I always keep. That's the one that I always keep talking about. That I'm still waiting. I'm hoping that'll come back in some form. But I was thinking about it, and another one, because someone brought it up to me, another one that I really liked, even though it only had 2 games, was Legend of Legaia. So, I kind of hope that one might be able to come back in some shape or form. Oh, Nami, we don't talk about that game. The last Breath of Fire was Breath of Fire 5. And some people don't even want to acknowledge that one. To some people, Breath of 4 was the last one. I mean, they made Monster Hunter Stories, which... I mean, it was a JRPG, but... I don't know why they weren't willing to bring back Breath of Fire. Yeah, it's one of those things like Squaresoft does it a lot. It's one of those things where it was obviously supposed to be a completely different franchise, but I guess they just didn't have enough faith in it, so they tied it to an existing IP, which was Breath of Fire. Like, I honestly think, just with the mechanics of it and everything, I think it was originally probably supposed to be like a game where your character was possessed by a demon or something. Just the whole thing that like you're using it as a last resort, and it basically causes a game over if you use it too much. That sounds more like a demon possession than, you know, the Dragon Clan stuff that's been in the game so far. Yeah, but I mean, for a JRPG series that's not Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy back then, that probably wasn't too bad. I mean, they had 5 games, and hell, I think the Trails series had just announced they got, what, 7 or 8 million? And that's across 12 games, 12 games in a more modern market where there's a lot more people playing, definitely, than there were during the SNES or PS1 era. Like, yeah, it's not going to pull the numbers of Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, but yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't. And if Capcom was expecting superstar numbers, I mean, that's not a good expectation. Well, I'm just talking in numbers sold. Like, there's a lot more people playing now than there were back in the SNES and PS1 era. Like, just the numbers of gamers were lower. Like, we kind of... What was the total number sold for, like... And I'm trying to think of another, like, series that was about as popular. Or basically just another series that was similar in size around that same time. Fortunately, a lot of them were Japanese only, which kind of skews things. Water, 3 wind, because that one we still haven't seen. Yeah, I've heard of that one. The PSP game is basically like it's almost like an abridged version of the first two games. Yeah, but when did Monster Hunter come out? I don't think they, like... How many years was there in between them? I don't think they were ever being sold concurrently. Oh, this is just a heal. Yeah, fuck it. I'll do it anyway just so we can see the animation. Well, also remember that when I say come back in some form for another, obviously realize that I'm also counting what we got, you know, for Suikoden, Wild Arms, and Shadow Hearts, which is spiritual successors. So, I mean, if those three, I mean, they've all done really well on their Kickstarters, but if they come out and also make decent money once they've released, like, have the Breath of Fire team make their own development house and Kickstarter, like the other ones. But yeah, like Breath of Fire, Legend of Legaia. I think there's a couple more that I always forget. But there's definitely other series that I'm hoping can get either a new iteration or a spiritual successor. Yeah, I'm aware. And we've already had the conversation as to how I feel about that. I'm just sad that he's been diluting his original vision for more popularity. But that's probably also necessary for him to even continue making it. So am I. Like, obviously the success of the Kickstarter for Eiyuden was the reason we're getting Armed Fantasia and Penny Blood. But we do still need to see how they come out when they actually release, to see if even more old devs jump on that. You mean the fan service? Maybe, but... And this is something that I completely forgot to mention last time we were having this conversation, but a big part of it is also the fact that Takahashi's wife is no longer involved in the story. The executives at Namco basically forced her out at the beginning of Xenosaga 2. And they even said that after she was off the project, they had to completely change the course of the story in Xenosaga 2. And then obviously in Xenosaga 3, they had to condense it down massively since it was supposed to be 6 games and then they only had 1. And then the only work she's done on Xenoblade was design one of the rare blades in 2. But she was a pretty critical part of the storyline in the original Xenogears. Like, it was essentially Takahashi came up with... It's actually very similar to what happened with George Lucas in the original trilogy. You know, Takahashi came up with the basic, like the skeleton, you know, points of what was going on. He came up with the ideas for the world, but she was the one who basically sat down and wrote it and put it all together. Which, like I said, was also kind of similar to how the original trilogy of Star Wars happened. George Lucas had a writer who actually wrote it out for him when he gave them all his ideas and everything that should happen. He did not have that for the prequel trilogy, and it was obviously that's how everybody reacted to it differently. And yeah, ever since Xenosaga 2, she has not been part of the project. Namco basically told him to get rid of her. Well, she was on at the start with Xenosaga 1, and it was very... What they said was that that early into the production of Xenosaga 2, she left the team, which, you know, Japanese never really like to speak ill of anyone they're working for or working with, which basically means that somebody had her off, took her off the project. Well, yeah, because they already got what they wanted. 2 was a massive success, and a lot of that was part of, like, that was one of those things that drew people to the game. Not that they're the only one that ever do it. I mean, that was definitely one of the draws for Nier Automata. Like, they marketed the crap out of 2B, and 2B's ass specifically. And that was how they get you into the game. Once you're in, then you enjoy everything else about it, but that was definitely a draw to help them get sales up. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, like, Xenoblade 2, because of all the designs for the blades, like, that definitely contributed to how popular it was. And after that, they've already got everybody on the hook. The series is huge. Like once your series becomes huge, you don't necessarily have to do that again. So they already got what they needed out of it. They got recognition, they got popularity. So they didn't have to put it in afterwards. Does she have some kind of hidden meter as to how long she can stay in beast form? I guess that's it. I guess as she's in beast form, she slowly loses gens, and then once she's out of them, okay. I didn't quite get that. Yeah, I just realized that now when I went to her gens and saw they were all gone. That's definitely a countdown to how long she can stay in beast form. funny you should mention that. I'm currently trying to keep Josie at bay with pets so he doesn't jump into my lap right now. But he actually leads with his head. When he wants pets, he does the head boops. Gotcha. Yeah, Josie does that too, but I don't think he's ever had any, like, I don't think his butt's ever been dirty that I can think of. But that's mostly because his spot that he loves, like, scratches and pets at is, like, right at the base of his tail. See, that actually sounds like I'd like it more. I'm usually more turned off by Goody Two-Shoes than anything else. I mean, hell, Zero from Drakengard 3 is probably still one of my favorite female characters. Actually, you attack. I don't really need to heal right now, so you can summon. Well, you're not going to get me to play 2 for a while, because I don't own it. I'd be playing the first one first. And also remember, I said this a couple of times in our last conversation, but in no way am I saying the games are bad. I just don't believe that they reach the levels that the original Xenogears did. And I already know that Xenosaga didn't because I played it. And honestly, I don't think it ever will, because I did find another interview with Takahashi where he basically said that he doesn't quite have the stomach to go as dark as he used to since he had kids. So that's basically saying that that ship has sailed. That took a while. Three Venus, 4 Mars. That's doable with the team I usually use. Damn, he made a bunch of them. Actually, what am I doing? Or I need to just fuck around with it and find... I don't know if it's the controller or if it's my actual USB port, but it's just constantly, like, coming... like, just losing connection for, like, a split second. Which isn't really that bad. It's more so just the annoying sound. I might need to go into the files and just turn off the sound of, like, the USB turning on and off. That. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's the actual USB from the controller or if it's the actual port. But either way, one of them is just losing connection just for like a split second every once in a while. Is Uni the girl with the bird wings on her head? I'm surprised everybody's not looting the cat girl. That cat girls seem to be like the #1 thing that everybody loves to make lewds of. I'm actually kind of curious if I should try to go for this next dungeon or if I should just call it here a little early. But either way, we were just going to do post-game stuff until it was time to end. We're still going to start Wild Arms 4 tomorrow. That feels like such overkill. In a random encounter. Okay. Well, they're all pretty, like, I didn't know how long the ghost ship was, but I know that Otka Island is another one that's like a mini dungeon, and then Crossbone Isle is really long, so I probably don't have enough time to do either of them. So this will probably be where we end, but in lieu of that, what was it? I think it was like 3 earth and 4 fire. Let's take a look at the summon that I just got, and then we'll go ahead and call it. Yeah, that's what I just got. It's the Iron Giant. It's literally the Iron Giant. Kinda didn't do much damage though. Especially being a post-game summon. So this is pretty much going to be where we end it and say goodbye to the Golden Sun series. Okay, so yeah, we finished Golden Sun, and now I am off on the same cliffhanger ending as everybody else that's played all three of these games. But as I said, I still don't see why this is the dark sheep of the series. I enjoyed it just as much as the rest of them. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and forego doing the post-game stuff as I usually do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, the entire game I was playing, I was looking for it. I was looking for what everybody hated about it. And it just seems like another Golden Sun. Like, the first half of the game felt very much like the first game. Like, it was a linear, guided experience. The second half of the game felt like Golden Sun 2, where it was open and you kind of had to go find everything yourself. The dungeons were a little shorter. Like, there weren't any dungeons that were as long as annoying as the elemental rocks from Lost Age. But there was some more lore that seems like it came out of nowhere with the AJ and Janae and all those, and the ancient, like the alchemy machines. But like, I found a lot of, like, I found little nitpicks here and there, but I didn't see anything that was like, oh my god, this game is so bad, it's ruining the Golden Sun series. That's the type of shit that people were saying. I guess maybe that's it. Just wasn't so much that it did anything bad, just so much that I can definitely see, like I think I had said this a couple of days ago when I was playing, that I can definitely see how maybe people got their expectations up really high, because it was an 8-year, like, it was 8 years in between Lost Age and this one. See, actually, I kind of like that, in the sense that you got a steady stream of new characters, and it wasn't just you had 4 the whole game, and then the other 4 join, last 10% of the game. I actually liked it better that way. They just came in at regular intervals. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, it just... And like I said, it might have something to do with the fact that, like, I just recently played all of them. Like, it was only, I want to say, maybe a year ago that I played the first one, and a couple of months ago that I played Lost Age. So I do think that maybe that 8-year gap had a lot to do with it. Like I'm sure you and other people probably played Lost Age, multiple times over. I don't know, see, because I didn't think Satos and Minardi were all that compelling either. They felt about the same, really. They were just villains they were just basically the villains that were like, hey, we're overpowered and we're roadblocks towards getting... Like, they were just the overpowered things that were constantly in your way that you knew you were going to have to fight at the end. but I definitely don't think that it deserves the reputation that a lot of people gave it. But like I said, it does happen a lot when there's a big. It does happen a lot when there's a big, chunk of time in between a loved game and its sequel, in that people play the originals over and over again to the point where they know them like the back of their hand, and they have that comfort in playing them and everything about them. And then when the new one comes out, it's different. Yeah. Like, honestly, the only thing really that I was missing from the previous games in this one were the item classes. Like the job classes that you got just from equipping the items, like the crap, I'm trying to remember what they were, like the necromancer and the joker jester one. Like, that was really the only mechanic that I felt that I missed from the previous games. But either way, we're done. I've gone through the whole series, and as I've said several times, now I'm stuck in that waiting period with everybody else, which, unfortunately, if this game is any indication, with it having an 8-year break in between Lost Age and this, and the next one, who knows when if it does come out, who knows when it could come out, being 12 plus, since it's currently 12 years in between. I can definitely see a lot of people having the same high expectations that may not be met. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's the whole people want the same, but they want different. Like, a lot of the fans have played the originals to death. Points of no return. That's that's almost like a moot point for me, just for the simple fact that whereas they didn't necessarily have points of no return in Lost Age, you pretty much needed to follow a guide anyway. Like, there were no points of no return. You could always go find stuff, but everything was so cryptic and they gave you so little information about where to find anything. You have to follow. I feel like if you're gonna get everything, I feel like you're gonna have to follow a guide anyway. So that kind of puts them on the same level with me. Yeah, and that's what I mentioned earlier. A lot of the job postings they're putting up make it seem like they're hiring for a JRPG, which could be Golden Sun or a new project or something. Yeah, and that's that whole thing about getting lost in GS2. That's kind of what I'm talking about, is that I played in Golden Sun 1, I kind of did the same thing where I was basically just looking at a guide to find all the Jinn, because that's what everybody told me. Like, oh, you need to, like, the Jinn are, a lot of them are really hard to, a lot of them are not necessarily missable, but you have to know how to get them. So I was like, okay, I'll just follow a guide for the Jinn, which is the same thing that I did in this one. In GS2, once the world opened up and we had the boat, like, I had no idea where to go. They gave you such little information, you were just constantly lost. That for Golden Sun 2, I literally had to look at a guide and be like, okay, where do I need to go? I didn't look at it to solve puzzles or boss fights or get through dungeons or everything, but it was basically, I had to have the guide open and be like, where do I go next? Where do I go next? Yeah. Yeah, the whole you just need to travel every inch of the world and talk to every single NPC and then you know where to go. I ain't got time for that. But hmm, but yeah. So, as I said, tomorrow we'll be continuing tomorrow, same time, 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. Check schedule below for what time that is in your area. And see, it's one of the. It's not even something that's like. I've noticed this about myself, and I don't know if any of you guys have picked up on this watching me play, but when I first start a game, I do tend to talk to everybody. And then as I go longer and longer into the game, I do it less and less. I think it's usually around the 25-hour mark where I'm going into a town and I'm just doing what I need to do and getting out. But yeah, almost I've noticed that of myself. I don't know if you guys know, but anytime I start a new game, yeah, I'm talking to every NPC, and then that behavior just gets less and less and less as I continue going through the game until I'm hardly talking to anybody at all after a couple dozen hours. Yeah. I guess I also kind of think of it as like I'm basically doing like a litmus test, like how interesting is the NPC dialogue, like for the first 10 or so hours whenever I go to a town, talk to everybody, like is there interesting NPC dialogue? Is it worth it for me to check? And then if I find that it's just boring normal NPC dialogue all the time, I just stop. But anyway, um so yeah, starting tomorrow we'll be back to covering my blind spots in the Wild Arms Shadowheart series, of which I no longer have any in Shadowhearts. Kudelka was the last one, and beat that right before we beat this. So all I have is Wild Arms 4, Wild Arms 5, and Wild Arms XF, which XF I may save. I may save that for maybe right before the Kickstarter games come out in 2025, but I definitely want to do Wild Arms 4 and 5. So starting tomorrow, Wild Arms 4 will be up next. And since I go one that I pick, one that you guys pick, once I start stream tomorrow, the Redemption will be up to pick the next game after that. And that's basically how it goes. I've been saying that I was going to pick up Soul Hackers 2 and throw that in there somewhere as soon as I picked it up. But now that I know that there's an update that they're going to do in November to add some quality of life features, I'm just going to wait till then. So I might as well play it in its best version since I know it's going to get the update. But yeah, I guess that's about it for today. So let me go ahead and give call-outs, and then I'll end. Yeah, I figured the update's going to happen in November. I figure I'd wait till the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. See if maybe I can get a repeat of how I got Shin Megami Tensei 5 last year. The Shin Megami Tensei 5 had just come out, and I got it on Black Friday for like $35. So maybe there'll be a price drop like that for Soul Hackers 2. Let's see if I can grab it on that. But okay, let's go ahead and give call outs. So Ragna, Kaz, King, Arenji, Nami, Samato, Kirby, Haideru. Was Wab on here? I thought I saw Wab on here, but I'm not seeing him in the chat log. Well, thank you all for coming in and chatting with you while I play, and thank you to anybody else who may have been lurking watching. It's always appreciated. So, yeah, tomorrow, starting Wild Arms 4, Redemption will be up to pick the next game. And as for right now, let me see if I can find someone to raid. Night Nami, Night Ragna, Night Orenji. How many people on today? Level 1, is that the streamer's name? Okay, I see him. Yeah, we'll go ahead and jump in there. Alright, so as per usual, let's go ahead and jump in, say hi, hope to see you all next time, and until then.
Bye-bye, everybody!